Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's Brian, Mr. Betcher, Miss Berlin for Breaking Down Scaredy.
Hey.
Hello.
Oh, that's so creepy.
Goodness
That
gracious.
was so creepy. So
I'm just going to start breathing into my microphone, I think.
Long.
Okay, easy does it. Ms. Berlin, you're back from camping. How was that?
Amazing.
Yeah? You were talking before the show. It's good to unplug, if you will, from technology.
It was very good to unplug. We did a lot of drinking, day drinking, kind of just sitting around and BSing and eating. Floated down a river on a raft.
Ah, sunburnt?
No, not too bad.
Oh, okay. Usually the worst sunburns I ever experienced was when I was floating on a river. So
in Ohio, we've had a lot of rain this year, enough that like Lake Erie has rip currents and is killing people, and like half of our beaches are gone. Wow. And yeah, so there's a place in southern Ohio that all the tourism is around one of these rivers, and they just opened it to just rafts. And I've swam and kayaked and canoed in this river and stuff before, enough where it's been low enough that I had to like walk my canoe over things. Wow. And the current was scary. Like I got in and swam a couple times, and it could have easily taken like somebody down. Yeah, and I couldn't touch. Like I jumped in and I couldn't touch the bottom anymore. So it was probably up. Whoa. At least 7 feet.
Okay. I was like, well, you're only about 4'5" anyway, so it's
no, but like I even had like my paddle.
Oh, really? And you couldn't touch the bottom? Oh, oof.
Nope. It's super deep.
When they get swollen like that, you got to worry about like logs and catches underneath, especially if you're using like inner tubes or something. You could pop your inner tube and then especially if the current's swift, you'll get pulled under. So
maybe
that's why.
But other than that, it was a whole lot of fun. It was nice to not have to work. Nice. I didn't reply to anybody. It was pretty great.
Well, you better get on Twitter and catch up with the drama. Go ahead, Mr. Betcher.
Like Linux, you have to reboot every year, right?
Yep.
I thought that was Mac.
I thought that was Windows, actually.
That's every day.
Yeah. Oh. Actually, that's a true statement. Yeah. So last week, we actually recorded part 2. You're not going to hear part 2 this week, sadly, of our social engineering podcast. But Anna, our moderator, director of InfoSec, we did that part 1 of our talk with her. I thought it was really great. Ms. Berlin, what did you think about it?
It was fantastic.
Oh, wow. It
was the best one that I've heard.
With all the things and the people.
And all the things and the talks and
that's so fake. I mean, that's faking the faker to here.
I didn't know I was supposed to listen to our own podcast. I mean, I got things to do.
I don't listen to my own podcast, and people find that odd. They're like, "You don't listen to your own podcast?" And I was like, "Well, I edit it, so."
I have a hard time listening to other people's podcasts.
Oh wow, sick burn.
Ooh, especially that one defensive security one.
I miss them. They haven't been on in a while, so.
I know.
I've been listening to Packet Pushers because I'm trying to understand how developers think, and project management podcasts and stuff because I need to be a better project manager, or just be one, period. So yeah. Mr. Betcher, how's things going with you? You were telling me your construction is done. They just routed around, they didn't fix the problem. They just, routed around it a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it turns out if you have a pipe that busts inside the slab, it's, easier just to reroute the pipes instead of jackhammering. So that's what happened.
Sounds like IT. Don't fix the problem, just kind of route around it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Put a WAF in front of it and you're good.
Yeah.
Oh.
And 7 proxies and shit. So yeah. All right. Well, we're actually doing this one, part 2, with with Director of InfoSec. Our moderator is going to be next week because weirdness. This one's going to go out for like DEF CON and Black Hat folks who are traveling. So give you some stuff to talk about while is day drinking a thing? This isn't the first time I've heard that term at work. People are like, "Oh, we were day drinking," and I'm like, "Well, what's the difference between day drinking and night drinking, other than the fact it's the time of day? Is it?
You got to go back to work?
Day drinking, you're not supposed to go back to work. I mean, I'm sure people do.
We have
day drinking implies heavily drinking.
Okay. So long, sustained drinking over time. And this is soda or adult beverage?
Yeah, yes. Water, preferably.
Okay.
Like maybe a little lemon.
Right.
And then a lot of vodka.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, interesting. Okay. Well, so we have some news. We're just going to, for those of you traveling to Hacker Summer Camp, listen to the social engineering podcast that we did last week. Part 1 is coming out. Part 2 will be out next week. We're just going to do some news this week. If you want to hear about the Capital One breach, there's other podcasts that are going to talk about that one. Risky Business did a pretty good write-up on that. We have a local hacker here in Seattle that got involved with that. So you can enjoy them and him and Metal Storm talking about that. So... let me see. Info Security Magazine. We're going to talk about 95% of pen test problems can be easily resolved. And this was from Mr. Betcher. Why did you pick this one, Mr. Betcher?
Well, it kind of struck me that there were 5 and or 95%. He lists 5, big one, and can be easily resolved. And I thought, okay, how is that possible?
Right.
So when you look at the list, okay, brute forcing accounts with weak and guessable passwords. Well, that is relatively easy to fix by having a better password policy, having training on getting two-factor passwords, things like that.
Yep.
Then there's Kerber roasting. Now, I don't know too much about Kerber roasting, other than it can be detected, although I don't know how you can detect it. That's a conversation for another podcast right there. Why don't you pencil that in?
Yeah. Well, according to Miner's attack framework, Kerber roasting, adversaries possessing a valid Kerberos ticket granting ticket, or TGT, may request one or more Kerberos ticket granting service tickets, TGS, from any SPN, which is a service principal name, from a domain controller. And it says these tickets may be encrypted with an RC4 algorithm. The same attack can be used to execute service tickets captured from network traffic. They say mitigations for that is to use AES Kerberos encryption rather than RC4 where possible. Password policy, strong password policy, 25 plus characters, and complexity for service accounts, and that these passwords periodically expire. Oh, that's a nightmare, isn't it? Oh no, why doesn't shit work? Oh, our password for our service account expired. Oy. Anyway, and privileged account management. Limit service accounts to minimal required privileges, including membership in privileged groups such as DA, domain admin. So
I've never found anybody that's been able to alert on Kerber roasting.
Well, according to
golden tickets.
They're saying that enable audit Kerberos service ticket operations to log TGS ticket requests, and they say particularly investigate irregular patterns of activity, accounts making numerous requests, event 4796 or 4769 within a small time frame, especially if they request RC4 encryption. So it sounds like there's a downgrade attack, so they're only requesting RC4, not AES. So
you have to have really good UBA,
right?
To be able to do that,
right?
So a lot of pen testing firms use Kerber roasting in their engagements.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes sense.
Next is excessive file system permissions.
Oh yeah,
which nobody can get right. So go figure.
Well, I'm not sure that's so easy to solve. I mean, it's hard to take away permissions.
Mm-hmm.
You basically have to rebuild. Especially if you walk into an environment that it's already messed up, you have to rebuild because that's almost impossible.
I'm not so sure that's an easy fix.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
easily resolved. So that one I can argue.
Yeah.
The WannaCry thing, Eternal Blue, okay, patch, right?
Yep, that's a patch problem. Yep,
that's a patch. And WMI lateral movement. I'm not sure how you mitigate against that.
When do you think it switched from oh shoot, now I can't remember the name of it, MS08 067 to WannaCry?
Well, I believe
like that shift in what was more prevalent environment. I kind of wonder.
I seem to remember that our friend Jared Freitas, who we've had on the show, I asked him about MS08067, and he's like, the difference between it and like MS 1017, MS 1017, was that if you tried to invoke MS08067, the service could sometimes crash, which means you'd get locked out. MS 1017 was a bit more stable, and you could invoke it without having the fear of being shut down. So, So that I believe that's the only difference. But I think the point was that it also ran very well on Windows XP boxes, maybe. So they're, we're seeing
067 or
I believe MS08067, and we're seeing and Windows 7. So we're seeing less and less of those and more Windows 10 boxes, which, that's why Eternal Blue and WannaCry are more, used. So, yeah. I don't have a lot of experience with WMI stuff. The one thing that I found with this whole list was a lot of it is Windows based. So you got Kerberoasting, you've got WannaCry, Eternal Blue. 3 of the 5 are specifically Windows-based issues. And this is based off of, they're saying, 50 engagements by Lars? Anyways, Chris Nickerson's... Lars? Okay, so Chris Nickerson's joined over there. He said these top 5 findings were 95% of all tests. So these are also all like what you would find on a network pen test, not a web app pen test or some other specialized type of testing. So they do say testing for vulnerabilities and techniques like integrated testing and tuning based on the attack framework helps programs stay ahead of the curve. A lot of people are embracing this attack framework. The thing is, it's been around for years. Why has it become popular all of a sudden?
I don't know. I feel like it's always been popular.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I think it only got popular when like endpoint security companies or endpoint management systems started using it to classify their indicators of compromise, or
maybe.
They, instead of trying to figure out another way of classifying everything, they already they stumbled upon this and was like, oh, well, there's already something here we can use, or it's good enough. It does the 80-20 rule. So yeah.
Yeah, just maybe the prevalence of more people using it.
Yep. So
I think logging is a key for most of these. Brute forcing.
Yeah.
That can be detected. I think Kerberoasting can be detected, but I need to do some more research.
I happily created, not like humble brag, I actually created a successful
brute force
mechanism for brute force. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
I'm super happy.
Yeah. So
WannaCry, that's obviously you scan for that, and WMI, you can detect that with logs.
Yep. So of course, the article says only one of the top 5 is not resolved with standard basics, which is WMI lateral movement, which Lars says can be mitigated by disabling WMI or RPCS, restricting non-administrator users from connecting remotely to WMI, and preventing credential overlap across systems of administrators and privileged accounts. That's according to what Chris Nickerson says. He says WMI is rarely protected or restricted, so it tends to be widely used vector. Most common way we bypass 2FA and RDP is by using WMI. There you go. So even with your, because Ms. Berlin earlier mentioned, using 2FA with your weak and guessable passwords, but if they can use WMI to get past all the two-factor stuff, then, game over, man. Game over. So, any last thoughts on this article before we move along?
Nope.
Okay. Nope. All right, cool. Let's get into this is okay. So I'm kind of mean. This is one of my favorite websites. I always find joy, and every day I go to this site and I always find something that is hilarious. It's called databreaches.net, and I'm sorry. I'm in the box when I see this kind of stuff because I'm like, oh, thank God it isn't me. So I'm way in the box on that. So data breaches. I found this one. It was a misconfigured AWS bucket. Weird. Exposes personal and counseling logs of almost 300,000 Indian employees.
Whew.
Yeah. So they're saying a misconfigured bucket expose. Yeah. So. As part of their benefit offerings, companies offer services to employees to maintain physical and mental health. So there's one-to-one-help.net is the leading employee assistance program provider. And a researcher discovered that one-to-one was exposing data in a misconfigured S3 bucket. When they eventually had time to look at the data, they found there were more 300,000 records with personal and sensitive information in the exposed bucket. Researcher did the nice thing, and then he contacted the site to share their findings. So that was nice. Yeah, so...
And then they ignored them.
Gods, I hope not. Yeah, yet another...
Well, they did, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
The company ignored them.
They went by with no response, finding the bucket was not secure. They decided to contact larger corporate clients. Ooh, that's not good.
Ooh.
Oh, if you can't get help from the company with the breach, you go after their customers, which
yeah, I guess.
Well, that
yikes.
Wow.
Yep. So July 14th, they got a response from an Anil Bisht, the director of one-to-one help. This is the first time I'm seeing this. Oh my hell. We will need to correct our internal escalation processes to ensure such emails receive the important due importance and action. As an organization, we take data security very seriously.
Not seriously enough.
Do you? We've been ISO and ISMS certified for many years. Oh, that's a damn...
Womp womp.
Oh, yeah. Good job there, ISO. You're not certified anymore.
S3 buckets.
What's VAPT?
Ugh. So let me ask a question. Okay, so we've got...
What's VAPT?
What? What's what?
I said, what's VAPT?
VAPT. Vulnerability Application Pen Tests?
Are you making shit up?
Vulnerability Assessment and Penetration Testing.
What?
Yeah.
But it says tested for VAPT. It sounds like a disease.
We've been... Oh, yeah. It's like we got all of our shots against VAPT and DipTet and all that, so...
What's AWS Macy?
What? Oh, now you're making me look.
We will regularly use AWS Macy.
Oh, I do not know.
Yeah, right. You don't know everything, Brian.
I have a sad.
Machine learning powered security service.
Huh. I don't know. We actually suggest the use of either Prowler or Scout Suite for testing for configuration issues for customers. And the good thing about engagements where we tell them to do these things is that's a tool that they can keep using over time. My thing is, so after all the breaches that Amazon has been a part of, and I'm not saying it's Amazon's fault that these S3 buckets were that way, there's a lot of older S3 buckets out there that aren't getting these fixes to them. I mean, if you stand up an S3 bucket now, I understand it's a little more secure. But some of these S3 buckets that are running on Amazon may have been up for years, configured incorrectly. And they're just starting to come to light or being found, or, they're just started having interesting things being put in them. Maybe this is one of those buckets that's just been around for a long time and they haven't, been audited properly. So that's cool. They said that the directors actually replied back and said he is informed by his IT department. This is one of our old partially archived data, older than 5 years. So see, this was on an older S3 bucket, not a newer one. Without due authorization, we're investigating. This has data which is gathered from our website, such as articles read, quizzes taken, various self-help resources. So they went back and they've enabled 256 AES encryption. So even our database admins have no access to the data. Makes me wonder if they've done all this. So even if our database admins have no access, why do they need the data? Remove it. If they no longer need it anyway. We've informed concerned potentially impacted parties. However, since the data is old, we face some challenges in reaching out to all of them. So that's cool. They tried to at least, I guess, get a hold of people. Used better password management through iterative hashing. We continue to perform VAPT exercises once a year since 2016. Wow. Once a year. Okay. And we've audited and certified for 27001 2013 for the last 3 years. Okay.
It says here, normally at this point, I might include some redacted screen caps showing sensitive data, but this data is so sensitive and so specific that I fear people could recognize themselves or others. So I'm just going to forgo the posting of any specific examples at all.
Oh, God.
Except this one that shows logged employees begging the counselor to keep their conversation about his sexually related concerns private. Please keep this confidential. I beg you.
Oh, wow.
And it got breached.
Sadly, his identity and his concerns logged in 2011 were freely available to the world years later in an unsecured bucket. Oy.
Oh.
Somebody needs to get sued.
That's it. Like, I quit the internet.
That sounds like some suing right there. I'm looking up this AWS Macy. It looks like it's something you got to pay for. Security service that uses machine learning. Oh, you lost me there. To automatically discover, classify, and protect sensitive data in AWS. Macy recognizes sensitive data such as PHI or intellectual property and provides you with dashboards and alerts that give visibility into how this data is being processed, accessed, or moved. If they're using that, it didn't work, or maybe they didn't do it right.
Or they didn't scan the right things.
Right. So yeah, that sucks. And India, what's second or first most populous country? So 300,000 people. That's what, roughly 20% of the population.
A drop in the S3 bucket.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a good talk title.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing that when they have data breaches, it affects hundreds of thousands of people just out of hand, because that's the way it works. So multinational employees. So if you've been a Cognizant employee, and hopefully just Cognizant employees in India, TCS, IBM, HP, Capgemini, and Daksh, DAKSH. So yeah, wow, crazy. Those are the big five that got hit by this. So there you go. Yeah, that sucks. I mean, because like they said, 5 years. So that bucket's been out there unsecured for 5 years. It's either that there are so many out there that people are just working their way down the unsecured buckets, and they finally got to this one. But yeah, databreaches.net, man, it's an awful thing. Every day they have some kind of
pleasure in reading about the misfortunes of others.
It's definitely schadenfreude, man. It's like, man, I'm glad I'm not that company right now.
Yeah, right.
Really sucks. So, all right, next article we have Ms. Berlin. You mentioned Sephora.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I saw it on Twitter, and I wasn't sure if somebody was making a joke about it or not.
Now I'm old, so I don't know what Sephora is.
Yeah, so I did not know what it was until not too long ago either, because I don't wear makeup really.
Oh.
So it's a makeup company.
Oh, okay.
They're like, usually, I know they have separate stores too in like malls and stuff, but they a lot of times they're in Pennies. I think there's like a central store within a store in Pennies.
Okay.
Southeast Asia, Hong Kong, Australia, New Zealand, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Speaking of breaches again, I thought I saw something on Twitter this morning that somebody had mentioned emails were sent out about resetting all your passwords, but I couldn't remember who had sent that. So they're saying that there's not a lot of information. They're saying customers in North America who are Sephora customers are not affected. Our regional databases operate independently. That's kind of cool, having a decentralized...
I thought so too.
Okay. This issue is limited to a different database which serves only Southeast Asia, Hong Kong, Australia, New Zealand. Sorry, all you Australia and New Zealand customers. Hard reset of all passwords were conducted. Free credit monitoring. Yeah, whatever.
That's why I always give all those stores fake.
Oh yeah.
Or email addresses I don't care about. Or yeah.
Well, if they're mailing something to you, you have to.
Here's a point.
What's that?
A staggering 59% of customers admit to reusing the same password across multiple sites.
Well, that's not
even
surprising.
knowing the risk associated. So.
Yeah. So.
Not surprised.
we get into this sometimes on Twitter about reusing passwords or whatever. And I bring up the point, it's what your threat model is. People are like, oh, everyone needs to be using password manager.
I do for some things.
I
use passwords for some things.
Boy, somebody got real defensive real quick, didn't they?
No. I'm just saying, like in general.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, that's the whole threat model thing, right?
Right. And I tried to, when I was really a real zealot with different passwords and trying to make my mama do it. I come down to the realization that she goes to like 5 websites, and if I give her a decently long password for 3 of those 5 or something, she can write that password down somewhere or write these passwords down somewhere and store them in her house, which immediately is more secure, in my opinion, than 1Password is.
Yep.
Because, instead of 7 billion people having access potentially to her 1Password locker, it's probably 12 people. And we know 11 of those 12 people. So for me, my mother and even my mother-in-law who has the same thing, they go to maybe half a dozen websites, Facebook being one of them, Amazon, that kind of stuff. So having the passwords written down versus password locker or what have you, that's just needless complication that they don't need. And, if you don't make it easy for them that follows whatever their threat model is, which is, albeit, my bigger issue is my mother-in-law or my mother retweeting, or not retweeting, but adding things on Facebook that are obviously like fake news or something that has been, massaged carefully by Russian news bots or something. And I have to remind my mother not to be stupid and, do that. Matter of fact, I did that last week. So, tough love it is. But so, it's just helpful to, when you're reusing the same password, just think about your threat model. If you are the CEO of a company or you're dealing with sensitive data, maybe you triage your passwords. The really important data needs a better password than your Facebook one, for instance, or, put 2FA where you need it and whatever and get around that. So, all right.
One thing you could do is have them open up one of their favorite books, turn to page 35 and type the first sentence on that page as a password.
Right.
Something easy like that.
Yep.
It's not a Post-it note on their monitor where their family members could potentially get to their bank accounts, but it's there in a book and they know where it is.
Right.
And eventually they memorize the sentence, right? Punctuation and everything, quotes, whatever it is.
Yep. Unfortunately, all the books that my mother read are them trashy romance novels, so yeah.
That's all right.
We all have our vices.
Yeah. I mean, she's got about 50 books in her house, and they all have Fabio on the cover. So
it's just soft porn for old people.
It's Skinamax minus the skin, or minus the TV. So, but yeah, so great.
You're welcome.
That's a visual I don't need.
Next article, please.
Oh my God! All right, so another good website, Mr. Betcher. You told us about this one, Info Security Magazine, 93%.
Yes. Site phishing is their top threat.
Why is that?
I think because phishing is really easy and it pretty much always works.
Right.
All you have to do is send it to 10 people, and one of them's gonna fall for it.
Yeah, even for tech.
It doesn't even have to be that good.
Yeah. So I've got a thing here. So so there are companies out there now that are no longer using email. Is the threat still the same if they're using, they're like using Slack, but it's like there's some kind of gateway or something there where they're not using a typical messaging system for email or whatever. So whatever email they get is stuff that they typically know, and they have like really secure. I have a couple of customers that I'm working with right now that we're doing engagements for that they don't have email. And I'm like, how do you do business? And they're like, well, we just invite people to our Slack. And I'm like, but huh? And I'm like, to be fair, they have like 3 people in their company, so they're gonna have to eventually.
It'll be hard, I think.
Yeah, they're gonna have to eventually move to something like a G Suite or something like that. Eventually, but right now, all the people that they work with, all their customers, they have Slack channels for. And they can just communicate with those folks because it's startups working with other startups. So those startups use Slack, so they invite their people to their Slack and back and forth. So it's instant collaboration, instant messaging, well, instantaneous messaging, instantaneous communication. And so they don't use email.
Some of these contests that you have to that you sign up for, like win an iPad or something, you have to have a company email address in order to win. Well, so I don't see how they're signing up for those contests.
I don't know how we got to that point, Mr. Betcher.
The point is you have to have an email.
Sure. And, ideally they're probably using a personal email instead of their work email, or they're making crap, emails. But so, is there such a thing that'll be coming up for instant messaging spam? So it's like, oh, I sent somebody an instant message on, God forbid, Keybase when it works. That is, how do you get people to phish an instant message? Is it just like, hey, hello, I am Nigerian Prince. Please, help me send money, over Keybase? Or, are we ever going to see the end of phishing? Because if email goes away, or, there's a better communications platform that comes out, will there always be an opportunity to create, impersonate, or to cause people to click on links?
I mean, I can't wait until, all those fake Facebook and Twitter and Instagram people, right? And they all look like these 10 out of 10, like, just models that are inviting you to talk. Like, I just can't wait until, the scammers behind those kind of just get the fact if you send like somebody that's a 6 or a 7, you might have a better chance.
You've been looking at my Facebook profiles again, apparently. So
why are you friends with all these Russian models, Brian?
I'm 13 of 10, so 13 of 10. Yeah. So
I think phishing will always be a threat because organizations have to talk to the outside world to do business.
Right.
Whether it's their marketers or salespeople.
That's fair. That's fair.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I talked about it a couple of weeks ago where there's companies out there that are taking advantage of, well, they're not taking advantage of, but recruiters want to be able to, smartly handle their inboxes. So they're, setting up API access to reach inside their inboxes and pull out the necessary information, or in this case, all their information, and storing it on databases where they're using machine language and machine learnings and the AIs and stuff to help find better, generate leads and such. So, yeah. So so the article goes on to talk about, they say, when asked about the impact of email threats, roughly half of the participants say they had a loss of employee productivity, and they experienced downtime and business disruption. And they said 78% of participants confessed that breach costs are also increasing, both monetarily and productivity-wise. Now, we talked about this beforehand because Capital One breach is still in flight and things are happening and there's blame going on and, whatever. We used to be able to use reputation as a... what do we call it? As a scare tactic. Well, I don't call it scare tactic, but it is kind of now because I don't believe that it actually exists.
We used to have the reputation hit as a talking point to say, look, you're not only going to lose money in fines,
right?
Not only going to lose data of customers and potentially lose customers, but you're also going to take a reputation hit for future customers. Right.
And what is a reputation hit in this case? Most people think, oh, your stock price is going to tank, but that's no longer the case. And depending on what kind of company it is, you're not going to see, you may not see anything at all,
It may be impacting B2B.
Business to business. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Because businesses do a lot more research than regular old Joe, right?
True.
He still shops at Target.
Right.
But are certain vendors going to deal with Target because, these things,
right,
or companies? I know Target's not a very good example for B2B, but
well, how about that home improvement company went out of business, Home Depot? Oh wait, no.
Wait a minute.
What about what about that credit monitoring company, Equifax? No, wait. They've all had bumps in their stock since their breach. So if you're talking about business investors, they don't give a crap. They expect, them to be contrite, give you a year of credit monitoring, which I think everybody in the U.S. probably has multiple decades worth of credit monitoring by now. So, yeah. So it says 48% had a loss of employee productivity. I'm assuming that's because they have to rebuild the box, or they've been ransomwared or something.
Or they're fighting about people with it on Twitter.
Right, or or complaining to IT, which also causes IT to have to go do something else other than rebuild those servers or build up new stuff. Yeah. I'm wondering, so they say 48% of lost productivity and then 36% experienced downtime and business disruption. Is that the same 48%? Do they lose productivity and disruption at the same time, or is that just completely different? Because I find it hard to believe that employee productivity and business disruption and downtime are not all kind of
intertwined.
They're all intertwined. So,
Sure.
Yeah. So the survey also found a pitfall in terms of security spend. Organizations are clearly under-investing in tools designed to protect email beyond traditional security gateway. Just a quarter or fewer had automated incident response, dedicated spear phishing protection, or tools to prevent account takeover. Dedicated spear phishing protection. Okay. I mean...
you got me.
Yeah, I just thought all phishing protection was phishing protection. Do you put more scrutiny on certain people in your organization? Because that seems like that would be a process thing. Okay, the CEO needs to, his emails need to go to him and, 3 other people to make sure he's not going to be trying to, accidentally send money to some company overseas or...
Except for one of those people doing that.
Right.
You give extra training to administrative assistants.
Yeah. Or, the administrative assistant's the one running the email box. So, and then only sends the CEO the important emails,
Right.
Right. They typically filter the emails out.
That's the idea, yeah.
They're not overwhelmed. Yeah.
Yep. I thought this was interesting. 79% of the orgs are concerned about insider threat potential and other account hijack attacks. So, insider threat and account hijacks are not completely different, but I mean, there's a lot of mistrust apparently in organizations.
So is an insider threat someone who may not themselves be a threat, but their system is hacked? So, and they're using that system as a jump box to other systems. Is that an insider threat?
That's true. Yeah, I mean, unknowing insider threat or knowing insider threat, those are, you have to kind of break those down now because a lot of organizations have people that don't realize they've been infected and then they're doing stuff that's malicious and they have no clue.
Because I always thought insider threat was, Bob turned to the dark side and he's...
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But
that's how I still take it. Sure. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I've seen this and we've had to have scenarios that I've thought of during engagements. It's like, well, when a customer, Bob isn't necessarily evil, but he has opened he's opened an admin share on his box because he needs to send X file somewhere or be able to access it from the server in the server room, and he doesn't want to walk half a mile back and forth with his computer. He's not evil. He's just doing things that are not secure, and it's going to bite him in the ass. Like we did an engagement where one of the IT admins had an admin share open on his box. I accessed his entire file system and, gained access to his desktop. I actually left a couple of files saying, Leviathan was here, that kind of stuff, left it on his desktop. But, he didn't need to have that admin share open, but he had it open because he used it for his work. And that was something that he needed to be schooled on. So, and we schooled him.
Reminds me of that commercial where there was a boxing ring and the announcer said, in this corner we have super security software, EDR, next generation, antivirus, blah, 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 all the bells and whistles.
Yep.
And in this corner we have Bob.
Yep. And, I mean, it would be nice if users didn't do that stuff, but that's just one of the things, and sometimes they need to learn the hard way. So That is what it is.
That is a good idea, though, kind of getting off the email.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some organizations can do that because it takes away, quote, the internet. Because anyone who has your email address can send you an email.
Right.
Theoretically, unless you're blocking emails from other places, but that rarely works.
Right.
So, yeah, that takes away a lot of the piece of the threat pie.
Yep.
So to speak. So.
Yep. Yeah, it's but
it doesn't come without its disadvantages too.
Right. Yeah, you're gonna lose some functionality in many cases. So, well, I think we're gonna cut it this week. So everybody's going to be having some good times at Hacker Summer Camp. I'm not going because I'm still working on my own conference, which is going to be super awesome.
Yeah. Probably better than DEF CON, honestly.
Y'all hesitated. God. Well, there won't be any lines.
I can't go.
There won't be any lines. So
jealous.
Yeah. So DEF CON, Black Hat. You're not going to either one, Mr. Betcher, but Ms. Berlin will be there.
I'll be at DEF CON.
DEF CON. Okay.
Don't get stuck between Paris and Valleys during talk or in between talks.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Wait, what?
A single hallway lined by 2 food courts on each side.
Oh, it's terrible. It is just a sea of people.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, it's not great.
Then you have goons yelling.
I'm not the yelling kind of goon. Got your
taser, your cattle prod. You just kind of move.
No,
people.
I just have a camera.
Camera.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, take a picture of the hallway.
I did last time it was there, but I'm super short, so it's kind of difficult.
Yeah.
No,
so I had to hold hands all the way up and take a picture, but then it's blurry and unfocused. And I have a couple of them. They're not great though.
Okay. And
this
you guys
fourth year as a goon.
Y'all say it's just a hallway and there's food courts on both sides?
Yeah,
it's a small hallway for that many people.
Oh, I see.
Right.
I see. And this is also the same place where they line up for talks?
Pretty much the only way to get between one hotel and the other is down that hallway.
Yeah.
Unless you go outside and all the way around both hotels, which ridiculous.
120 degrees and
and locusts swarming.
They're not locusts, they're grasshoppers.
I thought they were locusts.
No. They said they're grasshoppers. There's a difference between locusts and grasshoppers.
I don't care what they are. There's a crap ton of them. We have mayflies here.
Right.
Which swarm and you can see them on the radar and sometimes they're worse than others, but they're small and they only live for a day.
Right.
And they're not really destructive. I mean, they have to shovel them off the sidewalk sometimes. But they're not as big as grasshoppers either. You can kind of pick them up by their little wings.
Yeah. Well, I hear the difference between locusts and grasshoppers is one tastes better when dipped in chocolate.
I'll let you know.
Right on. I understand the grasshoppers are relatives to crickets, and somebody's going to be having chocolate covered crickets or whatever there. So
okay,
they roast.
I heard people were making pizza out of them.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I guess if you roast them on a fire and they turn all nice and brown, I don't know. It's got a bit of a nutty flavor, something. I don't know.
Nope, can't do it.
It's a bit nutty. Yeah. Anyway.
Nope.
All right. So you're going to be at DEF CON, Ms. Berlin. You've got a table for a couple of hours at one of the conferences. You're not sure which one yet.
There's a diversity event Friday night that I'll have a table at. I'm not sure exactly where it's at, but I'll tweet out about it. And so for our mental health hackers, we have a derby ticket to auction off.
Ooh.
If you, so I tweeted out the rules. The person that donates the most $1 bills to me or one of our board members at Vegas, you have to find us and give us as many $1 bills as you can. You get the DerbyCon ticket.
Okay. I had a job once where people gave me a bunch of $1 bills.
But the $1 bills cannot be covered in glitter.
Oh,
is one of the rules.
Damn.
And you do not have to be present to win. So if you can find somebody, if you really want a DerbyCon ticket and you know someone going, that will find me or one of my board members to give us money and ones.
Okay.
You could win.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I came up with that while falling asleep last night.
Was that after a day of day drinking or? or
No, completely sober.
Okay, all right, that's cool. Yeah. All right, so yeah, go find Ms. Berlin. Is Megan going to be there?
Megan is the only one on our board that will not be there.
Oh, okay.
So me, Susan, Courtney, Click, and Integral.
Okay. Andy. Yes, Mr. Integral. I remember him. He's always such a dapper dresser.
He's very good at dressing.
He's
yes.
a dapper man. Yes.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So yeah, go check them out. Go find them somewhere in the 500,000 square feet of DEF CON Black Hat B-sides.
I have a Blue Team Village panel that I'm on.
Okay.
On Saturday, I think.
Cool.
And I'm also a judge for Who Slide.
Oh, very nice. Okay. Cool. Mr. Betcher, you're going to DerbyCon. We're sharing a hotel room together. It's a beautiful thing.
Ooh.
Yes. 2 beds, though, sadly.
Aw.
Sadly.
No. Yeah.
You don't have to use them both.
Right. Yeah. Well, 2 people in a twin bed gets a little tight. So, yeah. So, what are you doing right now, Mr. Betcher? You're not going to be speaking anywhere or doing anything. So, what are you doing right now? You said you just had a release of LogMD.
Just had our newest release. Has a lot of features. It's been a while since we released, but hey, it's got a ton of new stuff, and we're already diving We're diving into the next version already.
Oh, cool!
So it's awesome. We'll have a new version hopefully in 3 or 4 months.
Nice
as well.
Okay.
But yeah, we're gonna do some threat hunting and stuff, hopefully at Wild West Hacking Fest.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So,
I wish I could go.
Yeah, I'd love to go to that one. Unfortunately, it takes 2 airplane flights regardless. So.
Really?
Yeah, Seattle doesn't have a direct flight to Rapid City, South Dakota. I have to either fly from here to Denver and then to Rapid City, or from here to Minneapolis, or here to Dallas to Rapid City. It's crazy. Okay. Or Denver, I think. No, not Dallas, it's Denver. But yeah, I'd love to go to that. And I actually looked at how long it would take me to drive my Tesla there, and it was about 24 hours of driving. So I was like, maybe not. So anyway.
It'd be nice when you could just tell your car to go there and park in this parking lot and you just go to sleep or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that'll work. Yeah, or, just, set the autopilot and then go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that works a lot.
That's kind of what I meant.
Yeah, don't try that at home, kids. So, myself, cruise control, right. It works very well until you have a left-handed exit, and then it just goes apeshit on you and tries to take the left-hand exit every time. True story. So, as for me, InfoSec Campout's still happening 23rd, 24th of August. We're 23 days away. As a matter of fact, I need to send some emails to people who bought tickets and go, please let me know what you're allergic to. And there's bugs and potentially, animals and stuff. So, don't slather yourselves in honey or anything weird like that. So, we got tickets for that, infoseccampout.com. We have still some, talks. Our talks aren't blue or red team, which I found very, very awesome. We don't have a blue or red team talk to speak of. It's all mobile device management, disaster recovery, DevOps, which is not blue team, and digital forensics. So we've got, those are the different, and a privacy talk. So we got a privacy talk, a privacy panel. So... yeah. So, let's end the show here real quick. Ms. Berlin, tell people how they can get a hold of you. Talk about mental health hackers real quick. Make it happen.
Come find me at DEF CON.
Okay.
Or tweet at me on Twitter or in Slack at InfoSystir, INFOSYSTIR, or at Hackers Health.
Cool. I got that one right on last week's show. Hackers Health, Hackers Multiple
Good job.
Health. I'm learning. All right, yeah. Mr. Betcher, how would people get a hold of you or talk about LogMD on the social medias?
I have a Twitter account.
Sweet.
That people can DM me.
Okay.
So it's at Betcherpwned, BOETTCHERPWNED.
Nice. Okay. Like Ms. Berlin mentioned, Slack channel. going strong. Got, let's see how many accounts are signed up for the main channel. Let's see here, 1,922. And I think we've got roughly about 450 active users on the reg. So, you are interested in coming to a fairly friendly environment until you meet, Scott and Director of InfoSec. She's mean. No, actually, we have roughly 375 active users on a daily basis, on a weekly basis.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Almost 2,000 people registered, which is insane.
Yep. And we have, active channels, all kinds, GRC and privacy. We have, IoT and mobile. We've got a leadership channel. We got a job board. Job board's actually probably one of the more popular ones. We have a lot of different jobs all over the country, all over the world. You can come in and post your stuff, or you can, if you're looking for something in particular, you can do that. We also have if you are a member of our Slack, we also have a Vegas channel, Vegas Summer Camp channel. So if you want to try to, coordinate things with folks, the Vegas Summer Camp channel is available. All right, and you can join that by coming to the official Twitter handle for the podcast at Breaksec, BRAKESEC, or you can send an email to bds.podcast@gmail.com. And one of our delightful moderators or myself will remind you about our social contract and invite you in. So that's how it works. Let me see. You can follow me on Twitter at Brian Brake, BRYANBRAKE. I was looking up links to our TPub stuff because I thought maybe I should mention that because a lot of podcasts do. We have a TPub site. If you want a coffee cup or a t-shirt or something, you can go to tpublic.com/user/BDS podcast. We get stickers as well. You can. We've got some stickers at DerbyCon. We'll have some stickers at DEF CON, I believe. Ms. Berlin bought some tickets that I've got, or stickers I've got to reimburse her for. So those are coming. I just got an email today, by the way. They're on their way. So there you go.
Oh, I got them already.
Oh, cool. All right, cool. Yeah, if you found value in any of the 270 odd podcasts that we've done over the past 5 years, and wanting to leave us a little tip, we have a Patreon. You can hit us up on Patreon or PayPal if you don't like Patreon. Breaksec.com/PayPalBDS or Breaksec.com/BDS Patreon. And, even a buck helps us with hosting fees, paying for the Zoom that we're using right now. We're actually testing out streaming on YouTube, so some of our people may be able to use that to watch us as we do our well-mannered frivolity here on the internet with our fuzzy cameras, so that way we look prettier, or I look prettier anyway. So yeah, we're on TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, iTunes. We have a YouTube channel, BreakingSecurity.com, BRAKEING Security.com is our website. There's no place you can't find us. We have an RSS feed, and just follow us on Twitter and you can find us. So that was it for this week on the show. Did we forget anything? I don't think so. I keep mentioning B-Sides Birmingham, Alabama. David Sybuck, one of our moderators. I think this is their inaugural year. So B-Sides Birmingham, Alabama, not Birmingham in the UK. They're doing a call for papers until August the 11th. So if you're interested in talking at a nice comfy conference like B-Sides in Alabama, B-Sides Beham on Twitter, and bsidesbeham.org, I believe, is the website. So yeah, check that out. And that was it for Breaking Down Security this week. Be nice to one another. Take care of yourselves, because you're only you have. And we'll talk to you again soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.